Don't let the stubborn fog fool you. Gander prides itself on being an airport, not an outport. But there was no way to know what was coming on September 11th.
Planes started to drop down out of the sky. I actually looked over runway 22 here, and planes are on top of each other coming down.
Welcome to unexpected visit to Canada. We're in Gander.
In all, 38 planes landed here. Almost 7,000 bewildered passengers in a quiet town that was home to just 10,000 residents to begin with. School bus drivers who'd been on strike drove the so-called plane people to school gymnasiums converted into makeshift hotels. Gander's hockey arena became a warehouse for stacks of food and drinks, and the laid-back charm of the town and surrounding communities soon put their distraught guests at ease.
One guy said to me, where can you go in the world, sit on the steps of a church, right across from a police station, and drink a bottle of wine?
It's not just that Gander accepted the so-called plane people, it's how people here embraced them and how deeply they considered their needs.
The spare room was spick and span. The sheets were, as I said before many times, dried on the line, because you sleep a lot better when the sheets are dried on the line.
At the start of a moment. The story's known now around the world thanks to Come From Away. First a hit on Broadway, then beyond. Now there's even talk of a Hollywood movie version. In Gander, permanent reminders include this chunk of steel from the World Trade Center, and more fragile mementos, post-it notes at the airport's emergency center listing flight numbers. The notes are still on the wall 20 years later. There are no plans to remove them. Bonds forged in hardship are often strongest. For people here, it doesn't take much for the pride and the sorrow to return.
As we speak, of course, there's the situation in Afghanistan is certainly something that turns the world's attention to it again and stirs up a lot of those emotions again.
Pandemic restrictions have prevented some plane people from returning this year to show their gratitude, but fond memories are immune, like the streams of Gander drivers pulling over to offer their visitors a ride as they were out for a walk.
Gander invented the first ride sharing. It was, the first Uber was happening in 2001. Problem is they just didn't charge for it. So
they never will charge for it. 20 years later, their kindness is still free. Ross Lord, Global News, Gander, Newfoundland and Labrador.